Hey everyone, today we're going to be doing a MLB tier list of how these teams did in the first half of the season. We're going to be doing a grading check from S to F tier. And you see in the bottom of my screen, these are all the teams we're going to rank. So without any further ado, let's get started. Beginning with the defending National League champion Arizona Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks have been a little bit shaky this season, but I expect it to be a little bit better in the second half, even though they've been doing a little bit decent. They're currently either third or fourth in the National League West behind the Padres and Dodgers. So if this team could make a big leap, they could probably make a playoff push, but I don't think they may not. So I'm pretty much going to put the Arizona Diamondbacks in the B tier. Next up, we have the Atlanta Braves. Braves have been a little bit shaky ever since Ronald Acuna got hurt, but the Braves are pretty much going to continue to get a little worse and worse, but not that worse, but see what can they do to make the playoffs. They are currently in the wild card spot as of now. Even though as much as I hate Atlanta, even though I'm a Phillies fan, I don't like Atlanta, so I'm going to put them in B tier. Next up, the Baltimore Orioles. Orioles have been so good this year, it's not even funny, man. They are literally good. They could probably make a run for the World Series this year. They have solid pitching and hitting. This team can maybe make a World Series run. With the way they have been playing, I expect them to win the AL East this year, back to back. For that, I'm putting the Baltimore Orioles in the S tier. Next up, the Boston Red Sox. Red Sox are trending up now. They are finally getting their bullpen together, man. If this bullpen can stay healthy for the next 2 months of the second half, they could make the playoff. But right now, they are literally holding the final spot of the wild card. They need to get a little bit better if they want to make the playoffs. And for that, I'll just put the Red Sox in C tier. They are kind of mid in my opinion. Next up, the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs are not good. They were good in the first half, but during the summer they somehow fell off, and now they are dead last. I don't know about this team. They probably won't even make the playoffs, so I'm not going to put them in F tier. I'll put it probably in the D tier, just for that. Next up, the Chicago White Sox. You know what? This White Sox are dog shit. I'm putting them in the F tier. I don't want to spend my time talking about this horrid of a team. Next up, the Cincinnati Reds. Reds are also really bad, but Eli De La Cruz is really good. He's a really good player from the Reds. That's why he makes this team a C or D tier team. But I will say, man, the Reds were pretty much should have made the playoffs this year, but the way they're playing right now, I don't think they may not. What this team needs to do in the second half is get more hitting and pitching better, and probably make a playoff run, but I don't think they will not. I'm putting them in the C tier just because I like Eli De La Cruz. Next up, the Cleveland Guardians. Man, this Guardians team is really shocking this year. I'm not going to lie. They've been absolutely dominant this year, and they may win their division. I will say, man, this is a really good team. I bet it can make the World Series this season, or probably an AL championship run. I'm really not sure. If he could just do better in the second half, they probably will win the AL Central. And for this, I'm putting the Guardians in the A tier. Next up, the Colorado Rockies. You know what, man? I don't like spending my time talking about this team. This team really sucks. I have no words about this team. I'm putting them in F tier. Next up, the Detroit Tigers. Tigers are a little bit trending upwards, but hopefully in the second half they could make a run. But right now, they're sitting in fourth place in the AL Central behind the Royals and Twins. I'm putting the Tigers in the C tier. They are trending upwards. Their bullpen is getting a little bit better right now. Next up, the Houston Astros. I really don't like the Astros because of how cheated. These are cheaters, man. I do not like cheaters. And I know people are going to be like, oh, we should put the Astros in the F tier because they're cheaters, man. Yeah, let's put them in F tier. No, I'm not going to do that. Astros are literally trending upwards. They're like 2 games behind Seattle for first in the NL West. Even though, after a shaky 11-20 start in the beginning of the season, they are trending upwards, they have a chance to win their division. If they could, they probably will make another World Series run, like always. The Astros are going to the A tier. I don't care what you guys say, they are A tier. I know I don't like cheaters, guys. Next up, the Kansas City Royals. Royals are so shockingly good right now. They need to get better if they want to make the playoffs. Right now, they are out of the wild card spot. If they can keep doing better hitting and pitching and better bullpen, they probably will make the playoffs. I doubt they make it. But right now, I don't think this team is pretty much there yet. But I gotta say, man, Bobby Witt Jr. is a really good player for the Royals. That's what makes this Royals team a C tier this year. Next up, the Los Angeles Angels. Angels are pretty much bad this year. Ever since Shohei's not on the team anymore, the Angels have been pretty much pooped this year. But I gotta say, man, the Angels are pretty a solid team this year. I'll put them in D tier. Next up, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Dodgers, man, same old Dodgers, they always win, but when it comes to the playoffs, they always lose and disappoint. I don't know, man. Dodgers look like a dark horse World Series team this year. And they may win their division for the 12th straight year. Nobody cannot stop this Dodgers team, man. Shohei Ohtani's been hitting a lot of home runs for the Dodgers. If Shohei keeps playing the way he's been doing, the Dodgers may probably make a World Series run. I'll put them in S tier. Next up, the Miami Marlins. I don't want to talk about this team, low-key. This team is pretty bad this year. I don't know how many All-Stars they have in that team, but this team is so hard. I'm putting them in F tier. Next up, the Milwaukee Brewers. Brewers are literally good this year. Like, I don't know how. They're literally first place in the NL Central. But this team has really much playing really good baseball this year. I will say, this team can get a little bit worse, I don't know, in the second half of the season, but we'll see how this team progresses in the second half. So I'll put the Brewers in the B tier just because they're good. Next up, the Minnesota Twins. Another team that's probably either in the wild card spot or not, but they are like, I don't know how many games behind the Guardians are first. But man, this team is pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. But I gotta say, the only player I don't like on the Twins is Carlos Correa. He's literally a cheater from the Astros. That's what makes this team pretty decent, I guess. Just because Carlos Correa's on the team, I'm not gonna put them in D or C tier. Twins are a little bit mid. I'll put them in B tier. Next up, the New York Mets. Same old Mets, man. People think they're gonna win the World Series, and nope. Look at that. Right now, third place in the NL East. But I might say, man, ever since Grimace started throwing the first pitch, Mets have been absolutely dominant throughout June. Ever since he started throwing the first pitch. So Mets fans, don't get your hopes in the second half. It's not going to get better and better if you guys make it to the playoffs, but I don't think they may not. I'll put the Mets in C tier. They are very mid. Next up, the New York Yankees. The Yankees, man, Juan Soto and Aaron Judge, 2 of the best teams on the team, like 2 of the best players on the team. I bet they can make the World Series, but they may fall short in the AL Championship. I don't know where to put the Yankees, but they're like obviously an S tier team, but pretty much not there yet. I'll put the Yankees in A tier. Next up, the Oakland A's. Worst team in the MLB. I'm putting this in F tier. I promise you, just watch, guys. When they go to Vegas, they're going to become a really good team. Next up, the Philadelphia Phillies. As a Phillies fan myself, man, my Phillies have been so good. We're currently the number 1 best team in all of the MLB. We're pretty much a World Series team. I don't know what I'm saying. But I gotta say, man, this Phillies team is literally stacked. The way if we keep playing good in the second half, the Phillies will make a World Series run. But I wouldn't say that yet because we normally don't pretty much make the World Series often. But hopefully this year should be the year. And for that, I'm putting them in S tier. Next up, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Paul Skeens is so unbelievable, man. I love that guy, bro. Paul Skeens is so good, man. He